am hitting you with a quick update before we get to the video. A huge thank you to everyone who has supported my Project K.E.E.P drive. The response has been incredible. If you're not familiar, Cliff and I are working with Project K.E.E.P, an amazing organization that provides backpacks and essentials to kids who are in foster care. We are collecting money as well as new and unused supplies over on my website. I have the link listed down below. All of the information is available. We are also giving away prizes to the wonderful donors who help out with this campaign. Every time a donation goal is met, we'll be handing out a prize. And literally the day we announced the drive, we met our second monetary goal of $500, which means we got another winner. Congratulations to this awesome human being. You are walking away with a signed copy of Olympian Confessions, Hades and Persephone, written by the talented Erin Kinsella. And I gotta give my props to Erin Kinsella. She has been a huge support system throughout this drive. I cannot thank her enough. If you're not already following Erin, she's an author as well as a YouTuber. I have her information listed below. She's also pretty much the most adorable person in the known universe, so follow her, get on it. Once we hit 10 donated items or $1,000 raised, another person will be winning a prize, and we are so close to these figures. Keep donating, keep spreading the word. Cliff and I really appreciate your support. Let's help foster kids and win some badass prizes, all right? All right, on to the video. Hello, everybody. Today we're talking about character creation, specifically how to make characters not suck. This topic was requested by one of my patrons over on Patreon, Lauren King. Lauren King is awesome because we have the same name. Lauren King, Jenna King Moreci. Are we secretly related? Who's to say? Lauren wanted to know more about character creation and development, specifically how to make characters interesting and engaging. This is something I could go on about for multiple videos, but I decided to start with the most relevant topic, and that is flat versus round characters. If you want to create realistic and engaging characters, more often than not, you gotta make them round. Per Lauren's request, I'm going to teach you guys the difference between flat and round characters, and more importantly, how to create a realistic multi-dimensional cast. So first things first, we gotta get some definitions straight. What is a flat character and what is a round character? Simply put, a flat character is a one-dimensional character. They don't have a lot of depth. They've got maybe one or two personality traits. That's it. On the flip side, a round character is three-dimensional. They have layers, they have depth, they're complicated. It's important to clarify that flat and round characters are not the same thing as static and dynamic characters. Static characters are characters who do not develop during the course of a story, whereas dynamic characters do develop. While it's common for round characters to also be dynamic, it's not a requirement, nor is it a determiner. In other words, just because a character is static does not also mean they're flat. They're not the same thing. Now, typically writers are discouraged from writing flat characters because they're less believable. Most people in the real world have layers, so fictional people should probably have layers as well. Thus, round characters is usually the goal. That said, there are situations where flat characters are perfectly fine, and those situations are as follows. Number 1, you're writing for kids. Stories aimed for children don't need to go into as much depth regarding the psychology of the character. Sometimes people mock the lack of dimension in, say, a Disney character, to which I say, calm your tits. When you're writing for kids, the story is much simpler, which means the characters are simpler. Not everything was made for adults, so sit your ass down. And number 2, you're writing background characters. If the character doesn't play that much of a role in the plot, they can be flat. It's not a big deal. You can't exactly flesh out a character that only shows up for 3 chapters. Some characters play a very minimal role in the story, and if that's the case, flatness is hard to avoid. Now, with that mentioned, it's also worth noting that many people believe it's okay to write flat characters in plot-driven stories. Plot-driven essentially means that the story focuses on the action, not so much the characters involved. However, there are people who condemn movies and books for having flat characters, even though the stories are plot-driven. Because of this, I would say this particular rule is more subjective than others. Now that that's out of the way, it's time for the meat and potatoes. There are 5 major differences between flat and round characters, and I'm breaking them down right now. Number 1, layers. The number 1 issue with flat characters is layers, and by that I mean they don't have any. He's a dumb jock, she's a kind princess, he's an evil sorcerer. They have zero depth outside of these one-dimensional archetypes. Now, sometimes writers will try to hit you with a twist and say, hey, not only is he a dumb jock, he's also a brooding edgelord. Wow, a whole 2 personality traits. The fact is, most people have more than 2 characteristics, so this maneuver doesn't really work. If you want your character to be round as opposed to flat, they should probably have multiple characteristics. Sure, they can be dumb, but maybe they're also insecure because of family criticism. Maybe they're outgoing because of extroverted tendencies. Maybe they're an animal lover, a philosopher, or a bigot. Regardless of whether it's positive or negative, adding depth to your character will make them feel more realistic and multidimensional. Number 2, stereotypes. Characters who are walking, talking stereotypes are not engaging to read. The fiery redhead, the damsel in distress. If your character has no personality outside of these cliches, then they are indicative of stereotypes, which means they're flat. This doesn't mean that you can't write a character who is both dumb and blonde, but they should have layers outside of that. Relying on stereotypes is not only unimaginative, but it can be harmful because it perpetuates cliched ideas about different groups of people. Women are not a monolith. Gay people are not a monolith. East Asian people are not a monolith. If you're writing characters in this manner, then you're most likely repeating stereotypes, which is detrimental to both your audience and your writing. Number 3, goals. What is your character's primary goal throughout the entirety of the novel? If you can't answer this question, you've probably written a flat character. Now, if they're a minor character, that's fine, but if they're remotely important, that's gonna be a problem. Most people in life have some kind of goal or motivation. They are working for or towards something. People usually have motivations for their actions that extend beyond the story requires it. So if your characters are only behaving a certain way because you need them to, you might need to take a step back and rethink their goals. Their motivations can be completely self-centered, like greed, or they could be benevolent, like helping the greater good. Either way, you should figure out what motivates them and why they're motivated by that specific instinct. Number 4, conflicts. This may be shocking to hear, but most people have problems. Even if those problems are minuscule in comparison to yours, they exist. And they probably feel a whole lot bigger to whoever else is dealing with them. This is the same deal with characters. Round characters probably have some kind of problems they're dealing with or trying to work through. On the flip side, flat characters don't have any issues outside of the main plot. They're just there to move the story forward. Again, if we're talking about minor characters, that don't matter. Background character number 5 probably doesn't need a chapter devoted to his tumultuous backstory. But main or supporting characters should have some kind of struggle going on in their lives. It can be as severe as a death in their family or as minor as a personal insecurity. Bottom line is, flat characters have carefree lives, round characters got problems, big or small. And number 5, development. I'm really hesitant to mention this because I feel like a lot of people are going to take it way too seriously, so let me make this abundantly clear. Most round characters develop as the story goes on. But not all of them, okay? As I said at the start of this video, there are static characters and there are dynamic characters. Static characters never grow, dynamic characters do. Most of the time, round characters are dynamic because most people develop in life based on their experiences. This means most flat characters remain static. They don't develop at all. However, not all flat characters are static and not all round characters are dynamic. Some people, whether it's in fiction or the real world, never change. They're stuck in their ways. So while uncommon, it is possible to write a round, complex character who doesn't develop. Basically, this rule fits for a majority of circumstances, but not all of them. So that's all I got for you today. A huge thank you to Lauren King for requesting this topic. If you'd like the chance to have a video dedicated to you, or if you want access to tons of other rewards, check me out on Patreon. We've got an exclusive writing group. You can get early access to videos. We have signed merch. We've got a monthly live stream. The link is listed below. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. I have it on good authority that I'm gonna start posting bonus videos very soon, so you probably want to ring it so you know when they're live. The Savior's Champion is available in ebook, paperback, hardback, signed hardback, as well as audiobook. If you're new to audiobooks, you can listen to TSC on Audible for free. I got the link listed below. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and of course, you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!
This is Rondies. Why the fuck haven't you subscribed to Jenna's channel? Do you really want to face me? If you don't do it, you know what will happen. I'll rip out your tongue, torture you, then leave your rotten corpse out for the birds to feast on it. Now press the goddamn button. And the bell too.